Oregon, I'll just tell you a little bit about who I am and my story and how I got to where I am today. So I grew up in a family of foodies and chefs and butchers and even hunters. Yeah, I know. There was animal heads on my parents' walls. I ate rare steaks and cheese, and so I'm one of those people who thought never in a million years would I go vegan. But you never know where life is going to bring you, right? So one day I watched a documentary. The one I watched was called Vegucated. Has anyone seen that? No? No? It's English, so I don't know. So it's basically just about 3 different people who are dared to go vegan for a month. And I woke up the next day and was vegan. I cleaned out my entire kitchen, got rid of any animal products, and ever since then, I have been full-on vegan. Woo! Yeah. I love it. I love it. The enthusiasm is excellent. But there was a problem. I didn't want to be vegan. I loved eating meat and cheese and the way I grew up, and I didn't want to be that like weird person. So I had to figure out what to do about that. So my plan of attack was to make delicious vegan food because that's what I grew up doing, eating a lot of food, cooking a lot of food. So I looked up a lot of vegan recipes, and what I found was a whole lot of kale and quinoa. I didn't want to eat kale and quinoa. Those things are fine sometimes, but for the most part, I really just want to eat like my favorite comfort foods, and I didn't find a lot of that out there. So I started playing around in the kitchen and adapting my old recipes, and what I soon found is that anything can be made vegan and taste just as good, if not better, than the original. Everyone agree here? Yeah, love it. So I began my blog because I wanted to share my recipes with my friends and family and show them that vegan food could be good and not weird. And that's how my blog started. And then before I knew it, I was getting comments from all over the world of people loving my recipes. And so I fell in love with blogging. After about 2.5 years of blogging, I quit my job as an art director and took my blog full-time. So not only was I vegan, I was a full-time writer, which is something I never thought I would do, considering my high school English teacher told me that Samantha is the best actor in our English class. I was not good at English. I was good at acting like I was good at English. But luckily, I learned a little bit how to write, and shortly after that, I was offered a cookbook deal from Appetite by Random House, and I wrote my first cookbook. Yeah. Oh, thank you. And so here I am today, 5 years later, vegan, cookbook author. Who knew? You never know where life is going to bring you. So today, I am going to make 3 recipes from my book. They're all delicious. They're all easy. They're all made with easy-to-find ingredients, and they're, of course, all vegan. So first, you know what's weird about this microphone is I can't tuck my hair behind my ears, and I'm so used to doing that. Yeah. First, I'm going to make my chocolate chip cookies. This is actually the first recipe I ever veganized because cookies are life. Yeah, I know, right? So just a little bit of all-purpose flour. Easy. And then this is baking powder, I think. Maybe baking soda. I forget. This is why I write down my own recipes. And a little of salt. And then I whisk it together like this. It's really complicated. Can you see? Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. I'm all blown out up there. Ta-da! Now you mix the wet ingredients. This is just a little vegan butter. This is Earth Balance brand. Basel also has a vegan butter. You can buy all sorts of different brands. You can also use coconut oil if you prefer. I do find that coconut oil makes things a little bit greasy. And of course, it doesn't have that like good buttery taste. So I do prefer this, but you know, if you're a coconut oil person, I gave you fair warning. And then some brown sugar, some white sugar, and some vanilla extract. Then I'm just going to take my fancy new mixer. Awkward. Right, rearranging. Wait, you guys are going to love this thing. Watch this. Look at the light. Did you see that? Wow, fancy. Brayville just sent this to me. They're really nice. They sent me a bunch of free goods, so I thought I'd show it off here today. So you can mix this by hand if you like to. I just like using a hand mixer because it's faster. You just want to make sure you get it nice and light and creamy and fluffy and delicious. Little faster. Beautiful. Oh, gonna spin this off. Is that dangerous? It's kind of dangerous. Yeah, doing it. Awesome. I don't want to put this down on the table and get it dirty for the next person. Beautiful. Did anyone see me on the news yesterday? No? Yeah. Was that fun? I was on the news and on the radio. I've been like hopping all over the place doing press. It was really funny though. I was on CBC News, which I don't think they've aired yet, but I flew in from Toronto and I left at 6 in the morning. And it was a rainy day, and my hair was blowing in the wind, and I was like looking crazy. And I got there, and I thought it was going to be radio. I'd somehow written down it was radio, and it was TV. I was like, yay! I love looking ugly on TV. It's my favorite. Yeah, I was on, and like I didn't even have time to like reach for a lipstick or something. They were just like, and you're on. I'm like, cool. Hi. Anyway, the vain side of me comes out, eh? So now you just mix them together. I'm like one of those people who's like always throwing flour at myself, and yet I still refuse to wear an apron. I don't know why. I like making cooking look casual. An apron seems so fancy. So you might be wondering what I've used as an egg replacer here. I don't use anything. I just skip it. People think that you need an egg to bind, but you don't, actually. Bread doesn't have any egg in it, and it has no problem sticking together. You can also make paper mache paste from flour and water. It has no problem sticking together. So in this case, I just use a little bit of extra butter for fat, and that seems to replace the egg just fine. So sometimes, depending on your batter, it can be a little bit dry, so I recommend putting in some water, which was somewhere. Water. Just a tiny bit until it comes together beautifully. Are you salivating? Is that what I heard you say? That's wonderful. That's what I like to hear. Drool all over the place. You know it's going to be good. Cookie dough. All right. Touch more water. Beautiful. And of course, the wonderful thing about vegan cookie dough is there's no eggs, so you can eat as much batter as you want. In fact, I would say that my batter usually doesn't really make it to the oven. Maybe half of it, if I'm lucky. Cookie dough's the best. Who prefers cookie dough over cookies? Only one person? What? There we go. Okay. Honesty. All right. Now that's coming together, you can put in the chocolate chips. Dairy-free chocolate chips. What I like to do is save a little chocolate chips. I'll show you why in just a second. I do know that there's Enjoy Life brand chocolate chips. I know, do you guys have President's Choice brand here? Yeah. So the semi-sweet chocolate chips, just the regular ones, they're accidentally vegan, so I use those a lot, so that's great. All sorts of different types. All right, I'm gonna get some of this hair out of the way. So you just take 2 tablespoons of dough, like so. And I love stage cooking, because you're like, then you bake the cookies, except you never do. So I'm gonna put a couple cookies on here to show you. I mean, I'm sure you guys know what baking cookies looks like. But you know, I gotta do something. That's what I'm up here for. All right, so then this is, can you see? Oh yeah, you can see, great. So what I do with the extra chocolate chips is you put them in the top like this, And this is what food photographers and bakers do. You know when you go to like a bakery and the cookies look so good, and you're like, why do they look so much better than a normal cookie? This is why. Because they spend the time putting extra chocolate chips on top. And so when they bake down, they look perfect. Num, num, num. Gorgeous. What do you think? I'm not going to do the whole tray. That'd be silly. Does anyone want to come up and taste some chocolate chip cookie dough? No? Everyone's afraid? Yeah, of course you do. You have to give me the spoon back, though, because it's the food stylist spoon. Oh, yeah, great. Have to give me the spoon back, though. Enjoy. All right. Chocolate chip cookies, how easy is that? Totally fuss-free, right? Yeah. Love it. Put this out of the way. All right. Oh, man, see, I tried to be clean. I'm not good at being clean. It's not my skill. So now I'm going to go on to making my melty, stretchy, gooey nacho cheese love. It's so good, you got to put the word love in there because you're going to love it. I know, it's so clever, right? I told you I'm not a writer. So this is very cool. The secret ingredient here is tapioca starch, also known as tapioca flour. If you've never heard of this before, it's just tapioca pearls that are ground up. So if you can't find tapioca starch, just get tapioca pearls. I think most places will have that, if not tapioca starch. And this is the secret ingredient that makes it ooey and gooey and melty and stretchy. If you use another starch or another flour, you can make like a sauce, but this is what's going to make it got that gooiness. So I 100% recommend you just pick up a bag of this. It's super cheap. You can order it online. Yeah, it's required. I'm just saying it. People always want to adapt recipes. I get comments all the time. They're like, how do you change this? How do you change this? I'm like, how about you don't and just make it the way I wrote it? It's going to be the best that way, I promise. So, cashews, delicious, creamy, add so much depth and flavor. Well, not so much flavor, but creaminess to the recipe. You can soak these overnight, but I am fuss-free, and I'm not good at planning ahead of time, so what I like to do is just boil them for 10 minutes. It gets the same result. Easy peasy. You just boil them, strain them off, give them a little rinse maybe, and then they are good. Some water. Nutritional yeast. Does everyone know what nutritional yeast is? A lot of nods, okay. The vegan fish food. And this is one of my other secret ingredients. I have so many secret ingredients. I think I pretty much am in all my recipes, I'm like, this is a secret ingredient, except it's not, because I'm telling everyone always and writing it down and sharing it all over the place. But this is, you know when you get a bottle of olives, green olives, and you have all that watery stuff in there? That's what this is. Yeah, I'm using things that you would otherwise throw out. But it adds this amazing kind of fermented background note of like a cheddar cheese. It's my little secret hack. You can also use sauerkraut, which I really enjoy. I gave the option for both in my book because they're both good. They both have their own kind of flavor. So, you know, some cheeses have a little bit of taste this way, a little bit of taste that way. Yeah, you can use either. This is a little bit of agave. About a teaspoon. This cute little bottle. Food stylist helped me out today. It's great. Normally I have to haul all this stuff in and I'm sweating and then you're go on stage and present. Today I just got to show up and just be oh, it's all done for me. Excellent. It's so lovely. And then I have in here paprika and turmeric and onion powder and garlic powder and salt. The turmeric is going to give it a golden color, and the paprika is going to give it a bit of an orangey color, so we'll get the best color here. And then all the others are going to flavor it, obviously. Goodness. So that's tapioca starch. And then you just blend it together. I've actually never used a Vitamix before. How non-vegan of me, eh? I have a blend tech at home. I also have a Breville blender, which they were like, can you bring it to your demonstration? And I was like, I don't think I can put it in my suitcase. I'm sorry. But I will show it on TV. Everyone's asked me to compare it to my blend tech and see which one's better, so that'll be fun. All right, let's see. Turning it on. No. Aha! Oh, gotta hold it. Oh, I see. So complicated. Okay, it's working. All right, what do we think? Is that blended? Oh. Oh, like poofs. A little bit of chunkiness in there. We want to make sure it's 100% smooth, like liquid. It's going to look like water. Or maybe more like milk, because it's not very clear. Excellent. All right, let's check how this is doing now. There we go. Beautiful. Nice and liquid. I'm always like wondering what you can see. You can see it's clear. What am I doing? Obviously. So, to make it a cheese, you take it over here and turn on this contraption. This is always a fun part of doing cooking demonstrations. You're like using tools on stage that you've never used before. And just dump it all in. And so you can see it's kind of creamy, but pretty liquid right now. And then the magic is about to happen. So I don't know, this thing might take a while to heat up, so we'll just stir and talk for a minute. So funny, when I was testing out these recipes, I had a roommate at the time, I don't anymore, but her sister was over one day and I had made this cheese and I used it in my cheddar and chive scone recipe, which is in my book. And I offered her a scone. I don't think she realized that I had made them because they had just been after food photography, so they looked particularly beautiful. And she ate them, and she's like, "Oh, Sam, you can't eat these. There's cheese in here." And I'm like, "I'm pretty sure I can eat it, but thank you." You gotta love it when people warn me away from food that I made. Happens all the time. At Christmas time, I made this weird pate thing, which it turned into a cheese recipe later on, but I hadn't quite figured it out. But everyone thought it was pate. It's still good. It just like wasn't beautiful. It had a weird brownie color. Yeah, and everyone was like, "Don't eat that. It has meat in there." I'm like, "It does not have meat in there." I know that doesn't sound very good, right? Like a weird-looking cheese that tasted like meat. Don't worry, I didn't publish that recipe anywhere. Yeah. All right. I have a gas stove that's wicked hot, so this is normally way faster and way more entertaining to watch. But it's coming, I promise. There will be magic shortly. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Oh, you guys are so shy. You can talk to me. The cookie dough is excellent. Yay, cookie dough. All right. So this recipe was just like a lot of experimentation, a lot of playing around. Every time I write any recipe, I experiment a lot. I do a lot of different versions, and so it wouldn't be odd if you were to visit me in my house and that I'd have like 10 chocolate cakes just lined up, all different. They all have bites out of them, of course. They're not beautiful. And so my friends come over and always take home food, but yeah, I'm always like, "Here's a mediocre chocolate cake because it didn't pass with the test, and it has some bites out of it. Enjoy!" I'll bring stuff over for dinner, and I'm just like, "Here's something mediocre. Enjoy." The good stuff gets photographed and put on the blog or in the cookbook. All right, so can you see how it's starting to get these like little clumps now? Starting to kind of like form curds in a way, I guess you could say. Get gooey and weird and cheesy. It's starting to come together. The magic is happening. Love it. Oh, it smells cheesy. They're prepping the samples in the back, and it just smelled like cheese in there. When I was sampling bacon recipes for my book, it's just getting a little hot. I'm just removing it from the heat a little bit. I don't want to burn it. That would be disastrous, burning food on stage. Yeah, I was like, I have 3 different bacon recipes in my book, and my roommate was vegan. It was her sister that was not vegan. And she walked in the house. She'd been away for a while for a weekend or something, I forget where. But she came home and she was like, "Why does it smell like bacon in here?" She was so upset. It's really funny. And I'm like, no, it's cool. It's vegan bacon. And then she was really excited. What is it about bacon, vegan or not, that makes us all addicted? I don't know. It's the like salty, fatty, chewy, crispy. It's crazy. But yeah, I have a coconut one and a rice paper one and a tofu or tempeh one. So they all have different textures and different ways you can use them. I also have several other cheese recipes. So I have this version, but in mozzarella cheese, which is great. And then I also have a feta and a ricotta. And they're all super easy. And I have this like amazing cheese ball, which is ridiculous. They had at my book launch party, they made this like massive one. These caterers made it for me. I was like this big. I'm like, how much vegan cheese do you think we're gonna eat? It was ridiculous. And then of course everyone was being like, you can't eat that. There's cheese in there. Happens every time, I swear. Like you think people would learn by now. All right, you see how this is coming together? Can you see there? Not that well. See how it's kind of starting to form a cheese? We're almost there. So at this point, you want to really make sure you're stirring it. And now that it's like kind of formed a cheese, you want to just continue to stir it for like maybe a minute more, just to make sure you cook out all of that starchy, floury taste. This is when the magic happens. Look at that. So cheesy, right? Look at the stretch, the goo, the melt, all the things you want in cheese. All right. So now, just going to do a little fancy switcheroo and make a macaroni and cheese. So I just add my cheese to the cooked noodles here. Now this recipe, I was sampling it, and my dad came over. My dad is not vegan. They still have animal heads on the wall. It's okay, I love them. Parents, right? And I had made like maybe a half batch, because I don't usually cook the full-size portions right off the bat, because, you know, then I'm stuck with whatever it is. Yeah, then he ate the whole damn thing. I had no dinner left. I was like, Dad, I have to cook more now. I don't want to cook. I cook for a living. I was hoping to like chill out and eat my food. Worst, but you know it's good when non-vegans are enjoying it. So you just add about 1/4 cup of non-dairy milk. This is a soy milk, I think. Maybe a cashew milk. I can't remember. Anyway, a non-dairy milk of choice. You need to start mixing it in. You need it like 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup. I might need a little bit more here today just because the noodles are a bit cool. Depends. And you start mixing it up and giving it some good elbow. Oh, don't do that. Just throwing food all over the stage. Classy, Sam. You should see my kitchen when I cook. It's a disaster. My dog is thrilled. There's always like things flying across the room. All right, mix it in. Yeah, oddly enough, this is what happens when you work at home for yourself, cooking all day. I like talk to my dog and I'll like feed her like mac and cheese. I'll be like, does this taste good? Literally, I say that all the time to her. I don't know what I expect her to say back. She's a dog. She'll eat anything. Actually, that's not true. I bought her these dog treats that had cranberry in them. Apparently, she does not like cranberry. So, picky dog. All right. Heating this up, mixing it together. Now, I've had a lot of vegan mac and cheeses in my day, and they're all kind of like good. But this one is the only one that I've ever had that has that gooey, stringy cheesiness. Yeah, you can never really see up there that well. I don't know if you guys can see this coming along. Oh my God, it's so good. A little bit more. Delicious. Okay, little bit of salt. Boom. You ever notice that in like YouTube videos that when they put food in the bowls that they're always like, a sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. I'm like, does anyone ever do that in real life? It's just like, duh. That's how I cook anyways. Excellent. Oh my goodness, so cheesy, so delicious, so melty, so gooey. So in my book, They are selling it upstairs. I'll hop up there after this presentation and sign any copies if anyone wants to buy my book. Hint, hint. Yeah. And in that book I mean, you can take a look, obviously, but there is everything from breakfast, pancakes, scrambles, waffles. There's soup, salad, sandwiches, burgers, burritos, pizzas, pastas, cakes, cookies, pies, lasagna, everything. It's got all the goods. And so it's really the book that I wish I had when I went vegan, when I was doing those recipes and testing them out and eating a lot of kale and finding all these weird ingredients. I still have like a giant jar of arrowroot powder in the back of my cupboard. I don't know why I thought I would need so much arrowroot powder. I mean, you can basically use it as cornstarch, but it does have a different cooking point. So I just like to use good old cornstarch. It's easier to find. All right, so there is my mac and cheese. Can you see that? Look how amazing that looks. Thank you. Gosh, I wish I had you guys here all the time. If I cooked in my kitchen and it was just like applause, I'd be like, thank you. That's great. Excellent. Okay. That's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions? She was asking if you can make this cheese recipe with someone who has nut allergies. Personally, I unfortunately haven't found anything that I love to replace it with. I know on my blog there's like a series of comments with these types of recipes. So people have tried coconut milk and reducing the water. People have used white potato. They've used sunflower seeds. From what I can tell, the sunflower seeds have worked best. With the mozzarella, that kind of can give it a slight green tinge. But with this one, I think it should be fine. So I guess that would be my best recommendation. Does that help? Thank you so much for coming today. Oh, love it. Thank you.
So much love. You gotta